Good morning, everybody. This is Sunday, I can't remember the date. This is Sunday, the 8th of August, 2021. Well, there's a lot to say, really. I'm not going to waste any time because I don't know when these videos are going to cut out on me. I'm going to go straight into it. I got a message today on YouTube saying that I won't be getting reparations. I will be cut out of the reparations. This is not the first time this has been said to me. This is not the first time this has been said to me. Remember, today is the Sunday, the 8th of August, 2021. Last year, during the Black Lives Matter protests and demonstrations in central London, I was in Parliament Square avidly campaigning and supporting Black Lives Matter and the injustices against our people as Black African people all over the world. I was also avidly supporting Herman Williams. His alias name is Jungle. I was supporting them, and I wasn't even highlighting my own case. I was just supporting Black Lives Matter, actually. And Jungle, I was highlighting his case because his father, he believed, was murdered a couple of years ago by the police. And that there was a conspiracy going on with the system against him and his family and his dad, and that's why his dad was murdered, because his dad was a Windrush victim. So I was avidly campaigning for Black Lives Matter and supporting Herman Williams, which his name is, alias is Jungle, one of Sasa Johnson's friends. We all became friends together. We all met last year during Black Lives Matter. And I'll never forget, during the height of the campaigning and the protests in central London, we were actually in Parliament Square opposite the Houses of Parliament. And Jungle leaned over to me and said, "You won't be getting reparations. You won't be getting any reparations. You'll be cut out. You're going to get cut out." And I didn't know why he said that. This is my brother, my younger brother. I take him as I've adopted him as a younger brother. I didn't do anything to provoke him. We didn't have no argument. We didn't have no disagreement. He just leaned over and said that. That was last year, long before Sasa Johnson and everybody came to stay at my house. So I hope you got that. That was long before Sasa Johnson and everybody came to stay at my house last year. Before that, Jungle leaned over to me and said, "You won't be getting reparations. You're going to be cut out." So what I want to say is, even when Jungle Herman Williams said that to me last year, it didn't fathom me in the slightest. It didn't throw me off. You see, because reparations is not for individual. Reparations are not for individuals. African reparations is for all Black African people all over the world. So I want to make that very clear. There's too many arrogant, conceited, very arrogant people, individuals within our communities who seem, because we haven't even got reparations yet. And you get Black people, some individual Black people dictating who's going to get and who's not going to get. I saw a video a few months ago on YouTube saying that all Black women who wear weave on will not be getting reparations, and they will be cut out of reparations. Now, I've never heard such bollocks. I'm not gonna pussyfoot around. The person who said it, I've got nothing against you. I respect and admire you. But that is bullshitter. You will not be dictating who gets and who doesn't get. All black women, whether they wear weave on, whether they have tattoos, whether they have hearing in them nose, in them clitoris, in them high, in them face, it doesn't matter. They will, all black African people, men and women and children, will be getting reparations, will be entitled to get reparations, and they will be getting reparations. These arrogant individuals are the one to decide who is getting and who is not getting. You see, that's why black people can't progress sometimes. We haven't even got reparations yet. The focus should be pushing the issue of reparations up there at the forefront. Already people are arguing from a long time who's going to get and who's not going to get. I've heard from decades ago people black people saying, oh, the African them now get no reparation. The African them now get no reparation. Who the fuck are you to decide who's fucking getting reparation or not? You're all fucking wrong. Everybody who is a black African will be getting reparations. That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. African people are included. And Jamaica, it was really surprising to me because Jamaica have been campaigning for reparations for some time. They've been challenging the Queen to pay. Now, basically, somebody actually told me that Jamaica is just applying for reparations for themselves, just for Jamaican citizens. It says Jamaican citizens, Jamaican nationals that live in Jamaica. So I thought about it and I thought, wait a minute. White people live in Jamaica and are Jamaican citizens. Haitian people live, East Asian people live in Jamaica and they're Jamaican nationals. Chinese people live in Jamaica and they're Jamaican nationals. Sometimes I think that we black people don't have no fucking sense. So basically, is Jamaica fighting for reparations so everybody who identifies as a Jamaican citizen can get reparations regardless of your ethnic background? Regardless if you were a direct, your family, your ancestors were directly impacted by the transatlantic slave trade. That means your ancestors were taken from Africa. So somebody said to me, he's Jamaican, and he said, oh, that's being selfish. Everybody has suffered. I'm not being selfish. For start off, number one, you've got to even be realistic, because my aim is to push the issue of reparations to the forefront so that all African people all over the world, including Africa, will benefit from reparations. Now, we can't realistically include everybody in the world. What the hell are we going to campaign for? Reparations for everybody, whether you're Chinese, East Asian, Turkish, Lebanese. Of course, a lot of people, everybody in the world has suffered. We cannot take on that on our head. So some people, some black people, they don't mind the Chinaman and the East Asian and the white man who identify as Jamaican getting reparations, but them don't want the African to get reparation. What kind of bullshit is this? You don't want your own African, but you don't mind Chinese, East Asian and white people capitalizing off our suffering. This is not what reparations is for. This is, of course, the Queen is and the monarchy and the British Empire is actually responsible for a lot of colonization, a lot of abuses, a lot of exploitation around the world. But that's not what Our the reparations is for the transatlantic slave trade. Those who were impacted, directly affected by the transatlantic slave trade. It's not to give everybody in the world. Of course, everybody in the world has suffered, and my sympathies go out to everybody. We cannot take the whole world on our shoulder. And realistically, the Queen cannot afford to pay everybody in the world. Look how big the world is. She cannot afford to pay all these nations. There's a lot of confusion. But the only reason why I brought up this topic this morning is because I received a message this morning to say, I will be cut out of reparations. I won't be getting reparations. So that's why I thought I touched on this subject, because there's been a lot of this bullshit. Or this is not, that person's not getting reparations. The African are not getting reparation. The Africa must get reparation. Africa must get reparation. Must be included in reparation. Black Africans at home and abroad. That includes Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Congo, all Ivory Coast, all of them, Sierra Leone. They were directly impacted. If you are a mother and your children are taken away from you, stolen, you as a mother have suffered. You've suffered the loss, you've suffered the trauma, you've suffered a lot of abuse, and then when your children come, you find out that how many hundreds of years later, your children, your generations don't even want to know you anymore. They reject Africa. They reject the mother, the motherland. They're rejecting the mother. That's very more insult on top of injury to the mother, the motherland. Africa must get reparation. Africa have directly been impacted and affected by the transatlantic slave trade. So all this bullshit about Jamaica say, oh, the African, they sell we out. The Ghana sell we out. There's no bigger sellout than the Caribbeans, to blood clot. I can't tell you no. And the African, some of the African American them. Me not mention a name. There's no blood clot bigger sellout than them. Bigger sellout. So at the end of the day, we can't show indifferences towards each other like this and start squabbling. Yeah? It's for African peoples all over the world. The only thing that I said in the privacy of my own home, I said, and I think I said it on Facebook, mixed race people will not be included in reparations. I said that about 2 days ago. I've never mentioned it before. I've always had that in my brain, but I've never opened my mouth and mentioned it before 2 days ago. So already last year, I was told by my own black Jamaican that I will not be getting reparations and I will be cut out. That was from last year, before Sasha Johnson came to stay at my house. So it was only 2 days ago that I said the mixed race people will not be getting reparations. Now, it's not have hate for them. Because remember, I don't know all African people, all mixed race people anyway. I don't know them. I'm being logical and fact and to the point. Mixed race people are an identity unto their own. They are not black. They are their own individual, unique race. You see, even the Somalians do not mix with anybody else. I don't know if you notice, Somalians identify as a race unto their own. Ethiopia, Somalia, these type of people, they identify as a race unto their own. They do not identify with anybody else. The mixed race people identify as a race unto their own. So I'm talking on points of law. These people, mixed race people, are a race unto their own. They're not black Africans. So they're not to be included in reparations. It's not a personal thing. I'm just being raising points of law and situation like that. There's a lot of had discussions from last year and 2019 with over the internet with organizations representing mixed race people only, and these are mixed race organizations and associations and groups. You can check them out on the internet. They introduced themselves to me on Facebook, I think last year or the year before, and they were arguing hard. They were arguing. I've got all the recorded conversation which was on Facebook. It's all recorded on my Facebook. I can ask permission for Facebook to go into my account and go to the history and the archives and pull out that conversation with the mixed race associations and the mixed race organization on what they said to me. It's all there written in black and white. They were adamant and vehement. They are not black Africans, and they do not identify, and they find it very offensive on a whole in general to be identified outside their race, as they put it. They are a race unto their own. That's what they said to me. They argue with me, they fight me, they shout at me, they say, we are not black Africans, stop saying that. So that's why I've come to that conclusion. I'm not being spiteful. I've taken into consideration all these mixed race organizations, representatives and associations and groups. They're international groups and organizations that represent mixed race people. And they say mixed race people are not black Africans. They do not identify as black African. They're not black Africans. And they find it offensive to stereotype them and put them into a box like that. So practically, they're not, you can't be entitled, you can't argue 1 year and say you're not black African, and then when we're successful with reparations, you want to jump in and say, oh no, we're black African now. Oh no, it doesn't work like that. Mixed race people will not be included. And yeah, I've read up about what's his name now? Frederick Douglass. I've read up a lot about these people. I've done a bit of research, and I've noticed that people, the realist people, some of the very realist people are not even mentioned. They don't get a look in. The great Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, you rarely hear about him. When I talk to some people who are campaigning for equal rights and freedoms and justices for black people, they've heard of these others like Frederick Douglass and rare, but they've never heard of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. They're like, who's that? Who's that? He's the realist. He's the realist. He's the realist. He's real. He's for real. He sacrificed his whole life. He was a very articulated, intelligent young man, very educated, and black African man. And you need to learn about him. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. He's a realist. You know, I'm surprised that certain people are putting up people like Frederick Douglass as some sort of black icon. Frederick Douglass in my opinion, is well overrated. He had numerous affairs and relationships while he was married to a black woman. Yes, he was married to a proper black African Negro woman. But when you really read up about him, he was a hypocrite. He was a two-face. While he was married to her, he was sleeping with enough white gal. He must fuck enough white gal. Hey, listen to me. Frederick Douglass was fucking enough white gal while he was married to the blue black African Negro woman. He basically used the black woman, because we black women are like we've always been stereotyped during slavery as mammy, the mammy, you know. And Frederick Douglass took his wife, his black African dark-skinned blue black wife. He took advantage of her, and he had her like a mammy. She was doing all the cooking, cleaning, washing. Because remember them days. Just check it all out on the internet. Frederick Douglass and all the relationships he had with his white associates, accomplices. He actually used his wife to wash, cook, clean, breed for him, do everything. She was a servant, you know. And I don't want to get too controversial. But Frederick Douglass is way overrated. And thing like that. He's way overrated. And a lot of the mixed race people during the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, all these mulattoes and mixed race actually were privileged and advantaged. There's enough of them on the internet. You just need to read about them. I haven't got the names to my head right now. They received a lot of privilege and advantage over and above us. The black, dark-skinned, Negro, African slaves. We was put on the harsh plantations to work. They were given a lot of privileges because their daddy was a white slave master. But so that's another point. I'm not being racist. I'm just being factual. I'm just being to the point, precise and factual. A lot of mulattoes and mixed race, when we're talking about reparations, when we're referring to reparations, during the course of the history of over 400 years, they have had a lot of advantage, privilege, and gain because they are part white. The reparations really is for the black African sufferer, the one who lugu and thing like that. Yeah. So basically another thing is yeah, that's it really. It's the white power structure behind this message that I got this morning, and that I got last year, and that I got before, that I received last year from Jungle. His alias is Jungle, but his proper name is Herman Williams. From last year, during the Black Lives Matter, before Sasha Johnson came to my house, he said, you're not getting reparations, you're going to be cut out, you will not be getting any reparations. I never argued, never said nothing. I just smiled and carried on campaigning. I will never lose my focus. My passion and my drive comes from seeing my own African people suffer. So many black women have been raped, murdered, mutilated, infected with all kind of HIV and STDs. You don't even know. Black men have been lynched, murdered, book raped, all kind of things. Children, oh my God, black African children, we have suffered That's my drive and my passion. It's not individual. You see, I want to see Africa rise. I want to see Africa rise. I want to see Africa rise. So all this rubbish about, oh, the African, them are sell out. Nobody are more sell out than the Caribbeans. May I tell you, fact. And the Africans, some of them African Americans, some of them. Yeah, they speak very fine. The African Americans, with them stand up. But there's no Asian provocateurs. Can't even pronounce it properly. Asian provocateurs. And everybody knows this anyway. Some people say, so fucking what, black people that does this and that. But that's my passion. Because I know behind it, we have been targeted a lot. And we've suffered the most. And there's a lot of Asian provocateurs. You need to read the story about Dr. Khalid Abdul Mohammed. It was really heartbreaking. He actually died very heartbroken and sad and lonely. And he was the realist. Just check him out. I don't know if the YouTubes of some of them are taken off or they're still there. Check them out. There's a man called there's something Pharaoh. He speaks about Dr. Khalid on what happened to him. He's called something Pharaoh. Just tap in the Pharaoh speaks about Dr. Khalid and what happened to him. Just tap that into Google and see what comes up on YouTube or something like that. Yeah, so there's a lot of agents, cocky, full of themselves. May I watch? Yes, I'm suffering. I've suffered all my life, but yeah, I'm not being spiteful when I say mixed race people are not getting reparations. They're not getting reparations, and yeah, it's the white power structure and influences that have already made a decision from a long time that I'm not to receive reparations. I'm to be cut out because they don't like me. I'm a realist, and I've been using my my case and my influences to get reparations. So I've been campaigning for reparations for a long time, for many years. When I first found about all this that was going on in my life, and I said, wait a minute, you're calling me a rapist and a exploiter and a this? What about the fucking white people? For 400 years, they chopped off man's balls. They sold babies. They stole us. They raped us. That's why I said from then, from that day I found out everything. All these bad lying about me. I said, I'm campaigning for it. It's got to be reparations. I said, there's no excuse. Nobody can excuse it. Reparations has to come. So, I'm not a rapist and an exploiter actually, but I'm not going to go into that yet. Because people are going to be very offended. Some people are going to be very offended because I said, when I'm ready, you think I speak harsh. You haven't heard nothing yet. You haven't heard nothing. But really, I wanted to wait until I succeed with my case. Then I would have just let rip with my mouth, with my tongue. Just let rip. You understand? You know, reparations is a must. Africa must rise. Yeah, so yeah, I've never been a lesbian. I've never been a pedophile. I've never been a rapist. I never exploit nobody. I'm the one who has been raped and exploited and abused and all these things from my early childhood right up to date. 50 years basically I've suffered. So yeah, my dad was in the newspapers in the 70s for being, he was arrested and charged with soliciting. The charge was soliciting in public toilet for sex with a male. This male was a white man, a white male. I don't know if, I only found out that it was white yesterday. Somebody told me from Leeds that their dad remembers the situation, and it was actually a court case. My dad was taken to court and charged, arrested, taken to court. It was eventually thrown out because the court said, the judge said there's not enough evidence. It was a white male, apparently, that they alleged that my dad was having sex with in the public toilets. I don't know if it was a young man. I don't know if it was underage. I have no idea. But in 1999 April, I was raped, taken to a house. There was a white girl there with no clothes on. She was naked, sitting there. There were two black guys. One of them, I don't know any of the people there. There were three people. A white girl, two black guys. I don't know them. All I know is one of the black guys is called Melvin Austin, and he lives in Tower Hamlets. He actually brought me to the house. There was a black guy there. The white girl, she had a dressing gown open, and she had no clothes on, no nothing, no knickers, no bra, no nothing. She was just sat there in front of these men naked. So apparently he gave me some crack to smoke, a tiny piece of nothing. I was smoking crack at the time because the history, the background is that I'd just come back. I've been through hell. They'd just taken all my 4 kids away. They accused me of kidnapping my children. All kind of bad things were happening. I was homeless. I'd lost everything. The airport, I'd lost all my suitcase. They told me that they couldn't find my luggage with all my childhood photographs of my children, my everything, all gone. Everything that I owned had gone. They said they lost it. A whole heap of things was happening. Come back to England. I was homeless. I'd lost everything. And they took my children. They said, I kidnapped me. You kidnapped their children. You're mental. You're a danger to society. They were very on me. So I knew it was a racism. And I knew it was to do with this white barrister, a middle-class white woman barrister in Sutton that I had a fight with the year previously. I didn't really have a fight with. She came to attack me and I defended myself. But I just kept my mouth shut at the time, so I just started smoking the crack. So one guy, he's from Barbados, he's a Rasta. He brought me to this house. He apparently is a Rasta, but he smokes crack and all, heroin and all this kind of thing there. And he brought me to this house, and he gave me a bit of crack. He was pretending to be my friend and to help me. Yeah, he was pretending to sympathize with me and empathize with my situation. So he brought me to this house in King's Cross. When I came into it was a room, a bedsit. There was like a mattress on the floor, a dirty, nasty bedsit, dirty and nasty. It was hardly, sparsely furnished, and it was quite very dirty. And the white girl, the white female, was sat down with her legs, everything open, and she was naked. She just had on like a white dressing gown that was open and exposing everything. And she was sat there quite comfortable, very comfortable. She was not under, she didn't show any signs of distress. She didn't show any signs of intimidation or threat. She was very comfortable, very confident. And she was sat there watching. And the black guy, another black guy, was stood up. I can't even remember what he looked like. He was stood up at the door, like blocking the door, like to block the door from me getting out. Then Austin gave me some crack in front of them. So I smoked it. Then he turned around and told me I must touch the girl. But I didn't know she was a girl then. I must touch the female, the white female. So I didn't want to do this. This was not my choice. This was not my my own initiative. This was not voluntary. So basically, he ordered me to touch her breasts. So that's what I did, basically. Then after that happened, he then immediately, they got up the white girl, which now I know to be a white girl. I didn't know she was a white girl. I thought she was a young woman, because I was only 28 at the time anyway. I was only 28 years old myself. So I thought she was around about my age. So basically, because I looked quite young at 28. I was very slim, and I look very young at the age of 28. She got up immediately after, and the black guy standing at the door, them two left, the white girl and her. She left like that with the naked, with the dressing gown and no clothes, stark naked. They left. So then he told me then I must suck his cock, and he exposed himself, and I noticed there was a green sperm, a green color coming out, oozing out of his penis, and he told me to come and suck his cock, and I said I want to go. I then tried to head from the door, and he grabbed me. He jumped up basically. He jumped. He said, "You're not fucking going nowhere. I'm gonna kick you down. I'm gonna kick out your fucking skull. I'm gonna creep," all kind of nasty, bad, violent towards me. So he forced me. He literally forced me to perform oral sex on him. It was by force. I didn't want to do it because I kept heaving. I kept going. Because I knew instantly when I saw the green sperm and the smell. Hey, my goodness, oh, the smell. When I smelled, it was like shit. Somebody asking you to swallow shit, suck shit and put shit in your mouth. That's what the experience was like. So basically, I had to do that. And I was heaving, I kept heaving. So after I did that now, he finished. He then, I think he even came in my mouth with the green gonorrhea stinking sperm. So I spit it out. He then told me to lie down. And I wanted to go, and he threatened me that he was going to kick the fuck out of me and batter me to death. So I had to lie down, and he penetrated me, and I observed that he was, what's the word when they have a limp dick? They can't get erected. They have a problem with erection. I can't remember the word. I know because he kept forcing it in, and it was soft and like a jelly. And he was pushing it and pushing it, trying to get it in until he managed to try something, and he was satisfied with that. So I immediately left, and then I went to this. I left at the house, and I was so relieved to get out. I went straight. I was staying at this black guy's house, a Nigerian guy. I can't remember his name. I can't remember. He lived in South London. And I went back to his flat, and I told him I'd been raped. I told him everything what happened. And you know, I said to him, specified specifically, the man has infected me with gonorrhea. There's no doubt about that, because I'd never had gonorrhea before. But I knew that was gonorrhea because I'd read leaflets about it. And it said there's a green sperm and it stink, nasty, very stink. It described the smell and described the symptoms, the green sperm. So I identified it straight away as gonorrhea. So I told this Nigerian guy that I've been raped and I've got gonorrhea, that he's infected me deliberately with gonorrhea. So he turned around and demanded sex from me. This Nigerian guy. He turned around and demanded sex from me. So I felt so weak, and I thought, oh my God, I'm being raped again. So he penetrated me again. And, you know, because I wasn't the big mouth, confident woman that I am right now. I was completely broken at that time. You got to bear that in mind. At that point, I was completely broken. You know, because I knew the system was up against me. I knew the police, everybody was up against me. So I felt I had nowhere to turn to. No one to turn to, nowhere. And nowhere to turn to. And I was completely broken. So I didn't argue. He penetrated me, and his rape, I think that was rape. He raped me, his friend in the other room raped me. Then I went to the police, and I told them I've been raped. And I told them about the situation in King's Cross and everything. And they gave me, I said, this man has infected me with a serious STD. And I think it's gonorrhea. So they did check up. They did checkups on me. And they said, they confirmed it's gonorrhea. And they gave me, instantly, they gave me a course of medication. Which I started taking straight away. I think I had a shower. I can't remember. I know that I think I had a shower, and they gave me new clothes. It was a white woman that was assigned a special rapist. When it's a rape thing, they assign a special female rape worker in the police. So she was assigned to me, and she was very nice to me actually. And she gave me. I remember she gave me a dress. And change of clothing and stuff like that, and they check up, they give me medication, they interviewed me, they taped me, everything, they wrote down statement. So that was it. After I left from there, the police never contacted me again. And there was something else I was going to say. A lot of important things. Yeah, I never voluntarily touched that girl because I'm not lesbian. I was never at any point sexually attracted to that female. Never. I never fancied her. I never desired her. I didn't even acknowledge her. I don't even remember what she looked like because I didn't even take any notice of what she looked like. All I know, she was a white female. I don't even remember what she looked like because I didn't even look at her. So he gave me the crack to smoke, and then he ordered me what he wanted me to do. So I had to comply because he paid me in a form of crack, and he paid me before in advance. That's the first thing he did. He gave me the crack. So he was pretending to help me, and then he gave me the crack, and then he's ordered me what to do to pay him for his crack. So when he ordered me and instructed me what to do, is not that I wanted to do it. I didn't want to do it. I felt very intimidated. All these people were around me, men watching me. I felt obligated to do it because he gave me crack. So I had no money on me. I didn't have no money. I wasn't claiming. I wasn't working. I had no savings. I had no family to turn to. I had no money to give him. So I had no alternative but to do what he said, because he'd already given me his tiny little crumb of crack, and I'd already smoked it. So it's not as if I could give him back the crack and say, here, take back your crack and let me go. You understand? So that's the situation. No point was I sexually attracted or aroused in any way sexually by this white female. So I did what he did, what he asked me to do, instructed. He said, do it something now with that girl. So the only thing I can think about was to put my mouth on her breast, and that was it. Yeah. So to satisfy him, and he was very satisfied at that point. He never at that point said, oh, she's only 12 or she's only 13 and you shouldn't have it. He never let me know, nothing like that. And like I said, she was in that dirty crack den. It was very dirty. There was a dirty mattress on the floor. She was already naked before I even went in that place. She was already there, sitting there naked with her dressing gown. And like she said, like I said, she had no signs or symptoms of distress, alarm, shock, intimidation, threat. She was very confident and comfortable in what she was doing. So basically, I didn't know that all that was deliberate setup. I had no idea. All I know is that I've reported it to the police station. I think it was Holborn police station, and they arrested. Apparently, they arrested 3 or 4 people. Were arrested initially, and there were white police officers. There were all white police officers dealing with that case, and 3 or 4 people were initially arrested. They went straight to the house. I gave them the address. I remembered because I noted the address when I left, so because I knew I'd already intended on going straight to the police. So basically, I gave the police the address when I got to the police station, and they went to the address, and they collected everybody apparently and arrested everybody. They were detained in custody for some time, and then they were released on bail. They were actually released on bail, and then from that I never heard anything again. I kept getting in touch with the police. They're telling me bullshitting me, and then I ended up being arrested and stitched up and put in prison and given 18 months. So this was another rape where directly involving this time, because before, as the police before used known criminals to do the dirty work, and it's always your own black Caribbean that's selling you out anyway. They do anything. In the next situation in July in Broccoli, in a house in Broccoli, another crack-headed Caribbean, Jamaican, British crackhead, alcoholic, heroin addict, he brought in, I went to the house and I trusted him. I was just sit there. I didn't go to have no sex at all. I was just sitting there on his bed. I was just depressed. I had nowhere to go. I was hopping down the street. It was cold. I was cold, and I just needed somewhere to be warm. Hopping down the street, and I had nobody, nowhere to turn to, no one to go. The hostels kept refusing me admission. I had nowhere to go, so I went in this house and I was sat there. This black guy brought me in this house, this flat in Broccoli, in a council flats, and I was in the room. I think it was like another bed sitting. I'm not sure, or 1-bedroom flat. I was sat there, just sat there, not smoking no crack. Just sat there, depressed, not saying a word. Because at that point, I never used to. I refused to speak. I just sat there silent. Then, and there was a knock on the door, and he opened the door like he was expecting somebody. So 2 people walked in, 2 men, 2 males, young males. One was a white man, the other one was a mixed race man. I noticed, because I looked like this, but I never showed any sign that I was clocking everything. I never showed any sign that I was clocking everything because, like I said, I wasn't expecting it. But the first thing I noticed, they were well-spoken, well-trained, professional attitude, professional everything, professional manner. I noticed they were plainclothes police officers. There was no doubt, but I never said nothing because I thought, what the fuck do they want with me now? These people won't leave me alone. What the fuck is the matter with them? There was a white plainclothes police officer and a mixed race plainclothes. They were plainclothes. The mixed race officer sat down on the sofa next to me. I was on the end of the bed. He sat down right next to me. And I wasn't talking. And the black guy, the crackhead heroin, he was talking to them. And I noticed another funny, strange thing. I noticed the conversation was about me. The conversation was directly about me. So I'm thinking, I don't know this white man. I don't know the mixed race man. Yeah, and they're obviously plainclothes police officers, undercover police. And I don't know the black guy neither. I've never met him before. I don't know who the fuck he is. I don't even know his name. But he was talking to them and they were having a conversation as if they knew me very well. So I noticed the black guy was telling lies. He was telling the white police officer that I come on to people, I'm very promiscuous, and I go around throwing myself at men, and all this type of thing. So I was just sat there like this. I wasn't saying a word. I was observing. I was listening. I was fully conscious of everything they were saying. So I never said nothing. So the white guy, he noticed. He said, he looked at me and he knew they were blatantly talking about me. So he must have been saying, why didn't she respond? Remember, I felt helpless because I knew there was a conspiracy. But obviously, I couldn't prove it at the time, and I didn't want to mention anything to anybody in case they say, "Oh, she's mental, she's paranoid, schizophrenic, lock her up and inject her." So that's why I never said nothing. I just had to keep it to myself and suffer in silence. So the white guy said to the black guy, all this time the mixed race guy was quiet. He never said nothing. He was just making observations of everything. So the white guy said, does she understand what we're saying? So I can't remember what the black guy said, but he was answering the question. So he was answering for me. He never asked me no question, and he was answering for me. So I never said nothing. I was like this. And the white guy kept saying, does she understand what's going on? Does she know where she is? Is she aware of what's going on? So I think the black guy was saying, oh, no, but with she, but the business with she and thing like that. So I noticed the white guy, the plainclothes undercover police officer, pulled out some crack all packed up, a whole heap of crack. And he gave it to the black guy, and the black guy was very excited. Yes, and he started to chat even more, and he was very excited. He got a whole heap of crack from the police. So he built up his pipe and in a smoking pipe, and the police officer, he gave the pipe. I think that I don't know if the police officer pulled out his own pipe. The white police officer pulled out his own pipe, or the black guy gave him a pipe. And I noticed, because they never offered me no crack. They never offered me no drugs at all. I was just sat there with nothing, just watching them talking about me, discussing. The white officer was paying the black guy crack for something, but I don't know what was going on. So they never offered me none. They never gave me no crack. They never offered me none. The black guy was smoking. The white police officer, the mixed race police officer, was just sat down. He wasn't participating in no crack and no discussion. He was just sat down there. The white guy was doing everything. He pulled out the crack and gave it to the black guy, and he took the pipe and he put a big lump of crack. The white police officer put a big lump of crack on the pipe. So basically, I noticed the police officer, when I was looking at him, he drew like the crack to his mouth, the pipe to his mouth like this, but he didn't touch it. His lips never touched the pipe. So when I turned away, he pulled back the pipe. He put the pipe away. He pulled it away from him. Then when I look back, he drew back the pipe like that to pretend he drew it to his mouth. But he never touched his lips, and he never took none. He never inhaled. The crack pipe never touched his lips. And then when I turned away, he drew back the pipe away from him again. And then when I look back, he drew back the pipe. And what is he doing? Each time he said this, he drew the pipe near to his lips, but he never touched him. He's pretending to talk. Oh yeah, so I make a conversation with the black guy, like to stall, an excuse to stall. So I thought, oh, this is very strange. I said, because I'd already observed, these are plainclothes police officers, undercover police officers. And it only confirmed that even more when I noticed he wasn't smoking no crack, and he didn't even look like he smoked crack anyway, because he was very clean. The white officer and the police, mixed race, very well dressed, smartly dressed. They were dressed like how police officers dress, you know, in that kind of style, smart, casual, very groomed hair, good skin, healthy nails, healthy built, very well built, good shape, like they do regular exercise and fitness. So I noticed they're definitely police officers, and he doesn't even smoke crack at all. He's pretending, and he hasn't touched his mouth, and we've been there in the house, in that room for how long now? and the crack can't get to his mouth yet. So I never asked him for none, and he never offered me none, and I never asked him for nothing. He went over to the bed. The white police officer got off the chair opposite me, came to the bed beside me, turning at another angle, and he sat down pretending like he was smoking the pipe again. But I noticed he was doing the same thing. I was looking from the corner of my eye like this, and I noticed, and then I looked back with my eye. I noticed he doing the same thing. And then what I noticed, there was a lot of movement under the bed, which surprised me because I didn't know anybody was underneath the bed. But I noticed there was a lot of movement underneath the bed, so somebody was underneath the bed hiding. So that really kind of freaked me out. And I noticed the police officer, the white police officer, who was pretending to smoke the crack, put the pipe, bend down the pipe underneath the bed, and was passing the crack underneath the crack pipe underneath the bed with the crack. And he was taking out a lot of crack. And I noticed this man wasn't even smoking. There was no smoke coming from him. And all the crack was disappearing underneath the bed. And there was a lot of activity and movement underneath the bed and in a cupboard that was right adjacent to the bed. So I thought, I was very, I don't know, I was dazed. I didn't know what to do, where to go. I was very cold. I just wanted to sit down. So I just sat there. I had all my clothes. I was fully clothed. I was sat there. I never came on to anybody. The mixed race guy was quiet all the time. And then after a while, he was there feeding whoever's in the cupboard and underneath the bed a lot of crack, the white police officer, because he had a lot of crack. I don't know where he got all this crack from. Holy big amounts. He was feeding the black guy, somebody under the bed, and in the cupboard, he was feeding them crack. So when all the crack finished, and I noticed he never smoked one drop, not one smoke came from his mouth, and he'd never put no pipe to his mouth, yet all the crack was finished. So Egan got up and said, okay, we're going to leave now. So at that point, the mixed race officer, plainclothes undercover officer, who was very quiet, he turned around at that point to me and said, be careful, yeah? Just make sure you be careful. That's what he said to me. I'll never forget it. The white officer didn't give a damn. He wanted me to die. But it was the mixed race officer that turned around and said, just be careful. Make sure you look after yourself and you be careful. And then they left. And then I remember they left, and I was sat there on the bed, just sat there. I didn't fall asleep because I wasn't tired. I didn't have no crack. I didn't have no sex with nobody. I didn't come on to nobody. I was just sat there on the bed because I wanted to pass time because I had nowhere to go. I was up and down homeless with no money, no nothing, no nothing. They stole everything. They stole my passport. They stole all my documents. They stole all my clothes. They stole everything. They wouldn't give me a home. They wouldn't give me anywhere to live. I had no money for transport to up and down to even say, let me sleep on the bus. So that's why I stayed there, and I would stay there. I was just sat there. And the next minute, I know, all I remember, I was sat there for a few minutes. I didn't move. The next minute I knew, I woke up in a daze. I woke up, I was stark naked, lying on the bed, and there was nobody in the room, in the flat. Everybody had vacated and gone and left me there. I was completely naked. My clothes had been taken off, and I think my clothes were on the floor. And I woke up and I was like, I'm naked? What the fuck? And then I went to put on my clothes because I saw my clothes were on the floor. I went to put on my clothes and I saw a big bruise on my thigh. A big bruise with a needle prick in the middle. So I thought, what the fuck? So I got up, put my clothes on and rushed out of the house. It was in Broccoli. And then I made my way, I don't know how I got there, to the nearest hospital, which was Guy St. Thomas's Hospital. I went to the A&E department. I waited patiently. A doctor came. I said, please, I don't know what's happened. I said, look at this bruise. I said, it looks like somebody stabbed me with a needle and I've been unconscious. and I woke up naked with no clothes on, and I did not give any permission to take my clothes off or to engage in any activity with anybody, sexual or non-sexual, or I never gave any permission, and I never willingly or voluntarily participated in either. He took one look at examined the bruise, and he said, somebody stabbed you with a needle, because where they stab you, there's a big pinprick in the middle, and all bruising at the side, purple, blue, red, yellow, green, all round. And they said that somebody stabbed you by force. Somebody stabbed you with a needle, and whatever they stabbed me with, it had some chemical in there, and it knocked me out. It just knocked me completely unconscious, and I don't know what they did with me. All I know, I was naked, and whoever was underneath the bed, in the cupboard, the police had passed over because it was a medication. So they used a needle and medication. That police officer, because he had a bag with him, the white police officer, I remember, and he was reaching into the bag for something. So he must have took out the anesthetic. He must have took out the anesthetic, because you can't buy anesthetic like that. You can't even get it on the black market. You can only get that from the professionals inside the NHS, the GP services, and things like that. You cannot buy anesthetic just on the black market anyhow. So that police officer, that white police officer gave them, that's when I started to recognize, he gave them something to inject me with. He gave them the needle, he gave them the something there that holds the anesthetic inside, the anesthetic liquid, and they put it in, or there could have been a professional, somebody who's very knows how to do them things, and they stabbed me, injected me, and then I passed out completely unconscious, completely dead to the world. I didn't know what happened, who was on top of me. It could have been a dog, it could have been a child. They could have been making it out like they could have put a child on my face to make it out like I'm sucking pussy or something, because I was unconscious, I was dead to the world. I do not know what happened, who happened with, I have no idea. How many of them, it could have been babies, infants involved, I don't know. Young children, young girls, I have no idea. All I know is I was oblivious and unconscious. I went to the A&E. The doctor was very nice. It was a white doctor, a middle class white doctor, and he said, definitely you've been stabbed with a needle against your will. So I told him that I was unconscious and everything. I said I want HIV test straight away. Yeah, so lucky, because I asked for HIV test straight away, because I don't fuck around. So basically, it's even like when that Melvin Austin raped me in King's Cross with that dirty white girl, because she raped me as well. That's rape. I was forced. I didn't want to touch her. She wanted me to do that. She was there for that purpose. So she raped me. And Austin, Melvin, and the other guy that was there, them three are perpetrators of rape towards me. Anyway, I also went for, when I did the test for STD and gonorrhea, I also had HIV testing then, because I don't mess around. I did the HIV testing, it was all negative, and I did it how many months later. So basically, this was in July 1999. When the doctor went to the records to check my medical records, maybe he went to check to see if I was a mental health patient, or tap in the details. He needed to bring up my details on the system so he can record everything that I was saying. He came back and he said, Michelle, Miss Francis, do you know that on the system it says you're HIV positive? I said, what the fuck? I couldn't believe it. I went back. I said, I'm not HIV positive. I've never ever been told by any professional that I'm HIV positive, and I've had many HIV tests because I'm very conscious of my health. I'm very wary of my health. I don't go sleeping around, but to be honest with you, but I do have a HIV test, and they'll all be negative. And if you are HIV positive, they have to let you know, because that means you will be spreading it and you don't even know you've got it. So he said, I want to take another blood test. I'm going to take a blood test right now. So I said, do you agree? I said, yes, most definitely. So I agreed for him to take the blood test. He took the blood test to check it for HIV and AIDS. The test results came back very short time. He came back to me because he knows what they can do. They are professional in this system. This was Guy St. Thomas's Hospital, NHS. They know they can take HIV test straight away to show up whether you have it in your blood immediately or not. He came back, he said, you don't have HIV, it's negative. The results are negative, you don't have HIV. So he said he doesn't know what the fuck that's doing on the system. But he realized obviously there's something going on and they've made a big mistake. So anyway, he said this other white guy came in, barged in, and I think it was Australian or New Zealand or some kind of thing like that, or British, I don't know, can't remember. He went mad, you fucking this, yeah, shouting at me. And I'm like, who the hell is this white man shouting at me? Because obviously I said I need to make a complaint, an official complaint to the NHS that they've put HIV on my records. And a professional doctor, consultant pediatrician, A&E clinic doctor told me, confirmed it with me. That's how I knew. It was one of the NHS staff that told me. So I said I have to put in a complaint, a very serious complaint. So because obviously you've just tested me and I'm not HIV, is negative. The white guy, this other white guy came in shouting, screaming at me, get out, you're violent. So I just stood there and I kept calm. I just sat there. I said, he said, I'm going to call security to get you out. Because I said, I want to put in a complaint about everything that's been going on. That's all I said calmly. I'm getting security. Before you know it, whole heap of black security guys came in and they saw me that I'm calm. I explained to them, I said, they put HIV on my record. Yeah. And this doctor has just confirmed I'm not HIV. The other doctors confirmed I'm not HIV. So the black guys, they didn't really want to get me out because they didn't know what was going on, but they said something's not right here with this NHS. So the white guy was going mad, grab her, take her out, and they refused. They said, we're not going to grab her and manhandle her because she's not doing anything that we can see. She's not causing any antisocial behavior. She's not aggressive. She's not shouting. You're the one who's shouting and screaming and being aggressive. So I said, they said, oh, because these doctors have told him that they have to get me out. They said they're going to allow me to make my complaint, log my official complaint with Guy St. Thomas's Hospital. And then they'll just escort me to the door, which is what I did. Two nurses came down, a male and a female, a white nurse and a white male nurse or doctor. They were doctors or nurses. They came down, took the complaint, official complaint. They said they're going to log it in the system. And then I was escorted to the exit. And then I think the next day or the next day after that, I was arrested, stitched up and arrested for a criminal offence and put in prison for 18 months. And then I followed through my complaint all the way through while I was in Cookham in Kent, because I'd been transferred from Holloway to Cookham. A whole heap of thing happened, not from Holloway to Cookham. I think I went from Holloway to High Point, then to Cookham, not to Bulwood Hall, and then to Cookham. And I can't remember. And then I suffered in there, oh my God, because I pursued the complaint to the NHS about the HIV false diagnosis. I pursued it because they gave me serial number. So it was definitely registered on the system as an official complaint. I followed it all the way through. The senior officer, a white woman, a white middle class woman, she kept blocking my letters from going out and blocking the letters from coming in. Because with the NHS, you have a deadline to make a complaint. So when they respond to you, you have to respond within a certain limit of time. So the SO was withholding, illegally and unlawfully withholding my mail. Because I kept saying, where's the response? I'm getting no mail. I kept writing back, not getting no. And then all of a sudden, when she wasn't on duty, another officer would accidentally find these letters and say, oh, look, Michelle, there's some letters for you. And they've been dated from a long time back. And I'm saying, why have these letters been withheld from me? There's obviously time limits, because when I open the letter, they say you have to respond within a certain amount of time. So I run and respond, send out the letter. Some of the letters that SO wasn't allowing them to go out. And they come blocking my incoming mail. I was complaining to the governor. I said, you can't fucking do that. They put HIV on my record. I have to complain about it. It's got nothing to do with the prison. They shouldn't be interfering. And whole kind of thing. Oh, so I think when I got raped also in July, when I was unconscious, they probably put a young child or something there on top of me and filmed it. Just like they filmed the one in April with Austin Melvin and that white girl who I've later found out years and years later, people started saying, oh, she was 12. So if she was 12, how the fuck am I going to know that when she was already there naked anyway? Like I didn't go there for her. I'm not a lesbian. He brought her there. So what's he doing bringing a 12-year-old and having her naked? Because it's not as if she had clothes on. She was stark naked before I even got to the house with those men in there. So obviously in July, they did the same sort of thing. But they knew I would never comply to paedophile because I'm not a paedophile. They knew I would never comply to lesbian because I'm not a lesbian. So basically, what they do, they stabbed me with a needle unconscious, because they knew I wouldn't comply willingly or voluntarily or of my own initiative. So what they did while I was unconscious, they must have done all manner of things, put young girl on top of me. She could be 9 or 6 or who knows. And then they filmed it and made it look like I was actually conscious and aware of what was going on, when I absolutely had no consciousness. I was out. So since I've mentioned those things, I've denied all of these allegations of rape, exploitation, paedophile, lesbian. I've denied everything vigorously. They've removed certain of the videotapes that were in circulation. The one in July that was in circulation, because they knew that would damage the rest of the cases, the allegations that they're making. Because quite clearly, I've never seen any of these videos. That's why I want it in court. If they played that video in July, for example, when I was unconscious, people would easily, professionals would easily be able to identify that woman is not even fucking conscious. You know, she's completely out cold. She doesn't know what's happening because she's not moving. Her body's not moving. We've been watching it for half an hour. Her body hasn't moved. She's not even twitched. She hasn't moved from the same place, the same position. They would have noticed. So that video has mysteriously gone out of circulation, disappeared. But I want to raise that up, that these were what they were obviously previously using to damage my reputation. So whether it's gone out of circulation or not, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be used as evidence because it still happened. Something untoward, illegal activity went on there. That's why they stabbed me unconscious. Clearly, I'm not a paedophile. I've never been a paedophile, because if you were a paedophile, you would not need to stab a paedophile unconscious to force him or her to participate in sexual activity with underage children. You wouldn't need to stab them unconscious, because they would willingly participate, because that's their thing. The only people that will stab unconscious is people who will not participate and will not volunteer and will not willingly participate in that kind of thing. So you would have to stab them unconscious. A paedophile, a real paedophile, you would never have to stab them unconscious. They will willingly do that because that's what they're about. They're attracted to young babies and children. So, yeah, so I want to get hold of that, those video recordings. There's evidence, all of them, and in particular the one in July, because people say, well, why are you so All of them are important, but what and the one in the 90s involving the Irishman and his so-called son. What I want, the one in July in particular as well, all of them, but in particular the one in July with the white police officer plainclothes and the white plainclothes and the mixed race plainclothes officer, is because I don't know what happened. At least in the other situations that I was a target and I was the victim, the subject of a target of a deliberate conspiracy, at least I was conscious then, so I can identify what happened, the circumstances that I was under. But the one in July, they stabbed me unconscious. I was completely dead, out cold. I don't know what happened. I want to know what happened. I want to see for myself what they did to me that night. I want to see. So if anybody knows of all these video and these illegal, turn them in. The police can't kill you. They might threaten you. Don't believe them. They can't kill you. Turn them in. And we go to the we take copies. We go to a solicitor. We find a solicitor I can trust, and we take this information to a solicitor. Yeah, you will be protected. We need to expose the system, what they do in the media. Because remember, my dad was in the newspaper in the 70s for apparently soliciting sex, homosexual sex, with a white guy. I don't know if it was young, underage, I don't know. But isn't that a coincidence? I've been a target all my life, because I've not just been a target. I've been a target right from my childhood. So basically, they've been on the case, trying to enforce it, something doesn't exist. They've been trying to enforce something that has never existed within me. So, because if you're naturally a paedophile or you're naturally lesbian, nobody has to make 50 years of effort and resources trying to force you in this situation by force. Nobody would have to force you. Pedophiles are not forced. They do it willingly. Lesbian and gay, they're not forced. They do it willingly. Nobody has to force them. Somebody who spends 50 years trying to force you, and you're not responding, you're rejecting it, that means you're not gay, you're not lesbian, you're not pedophile. It's just not you. You're just not that way. They've been trying to enforce it. So basically, if anybody's out there and you know of these videos that have been circulating, or please come forward, come to find who. My email is MichelleNaomi456@gmail.com. Come forward and let's expose the media and the system. The media and the system for what they do. They've made films about me directly. My mother, my biological mother, my dad, my full my full black sister Yvonne, and myself. The Color Purple, I know it was definitely written by a black woman, the book, but Steven Spielberg brought it to life. The characters' likeness is too uncanny. All the characters' likeness is too uncanny to me, my sister, my mother, my real mother, my real sister, my dad. Hey, that man Steven Spielberg brought it to life. Wicked bastard. The media, I never knew all my life that this was going on. It's not until I wrote to Michael Howard in 2005 and I said, I've had enough. All these black people attacking me, doing all kind of thing, and the police are not doing anything. And that's what I wrote, something like that. That's all. Nothing really much. He never wrote to me. He never responded. He never got in touch with me. And just after I wrote the letter, I saw him hiding in the car, coming from my house, right next to my house. Michael Howard, hiding. So I said, what the fuck? Then I saw Richard Blackwood walk past me. Just as Michael Howard was in the car, Richard Blackwood walked past. I just pretend like I didn't notice, but I was watching and holy pa thing, holy pa thing, holy pa, holy pa, holy. So I started to put 2 and 2 together, but everything, because at that point I still didn't know. And then later, I think it was around about 2007, everything started to come out. That I've been set up in April, when I was the victim of rape, that actually turned it around and pretend I raped the white girl in King's Cross. Me, I raped her. Like, I went in there and I requested, oh, can you find me a nice white girl, a young white girl, a underage white, as if I would do something like that. It was nothing like that. I've explained the situation to you. How was the victim? That black guy brought me there. He never told me about no white girl in there. I thought she was run about my age anyway, because I was only 28 at the time. And I looked very young for my age at the time. So I assumed that she was around about my age. Or you know, I had no idea that it was a 12-year-old white girl. And why would somebody put a 12-year-old white girl there? It's the same thing, I think, a situation with my dad. In the 70s, in the media, in the newspaper, everything started to come to my head all at once. The July, the rape, when they unconscious, I said, what were they fucking doing to me? In the mid-90s, an Irishman with his white son, they tried to set me up as a paedophile. I thought, fuck, why always paedophile and rape and lesbian? Why always those things? Those things seem to take center. They seem to be the main prerogative, the main agenda. So I'm thinking, why all this? And I was raped in Brixton, viciously raped. I was raped so many times. There was a big black guy in Cricklewood that raped me. He locked the door, held me down and raped me. So many things. That white guy, Joseph FRITZL, I'd met him in the 90s. He wanted me to go and live in his house with my children, and I said no. And they were trying to set me up so he could take me over to his house. He said, oh, his wife wouldn't mind, and raped me, put me in the cellar with his daughter and my children, and raped me and my children. That's what they planned for 40, 50 years. There were rapers and killers in the house. That's what. Why would people want that? Why? This has been ongoing. Where so much? How could you have so much hate? That's when people say, Seymour, a friend. Well, not really a friend, an associate, an agent. I think he's Rastafarian. He said to me, "You hate mixed race people so much. Don't get it fucking twisted. They're the ones who hate me. All this hate from Haitians, white people, mixed race people, black people, the hate has been coming from them towards me. I never had no hate for anybody. So how can you turn around and try to use your own guilty conscience on me and say, I hated mixed race people? Where is the evidence in the whole of history? Have you seen Michelle Francis conspire against a race, a particular race, or a particular religion or faith? Where in history is there any evidence that I conspired against anybody in my life to undermine, to cause them damage, to cause them harm? Where? That I conspired to kill out a whole people, to a nation or a religion? Where in the history is there any evidence? Because none of that is true. I've been subject to that. I'm the victim. I've been the target. I've been subject. You see, in my case, I've not conspired against anybody in my life. So there's been no hate from me towards half-caste. I've just learned of everything that's been going on, and I speak truth. That's one thing about me. I don't hold back now. I've discovered my mouth. I've discovered my brain, and I use it. And I talk. But I never conspire to kill out people, to rape people, rape children, rip people's lives apart, infect them with AIDS and HIV, and rip their pussy off, and rip off their balls, and rape a man and juke him in his ass. Those things never come in my life, in my head. I don't into those things. I'm not part of the system. I'm not part of the system. I've never worked with the system to conspire against any race or any people or any religion or faith, to undermine them like that in any way. Never. So a lot of people have got guilty conscience out there and they're trying to twist it around. Don't get it twisted, honey. You're the one with the hate out there. Because I just speak truth. I just speak truth. There's no hate there. I just speak truth. You know, so there's a lot. My sister Yvonne, my full black sister, has been raped. How many times? Abused. She's been harassed and mocked at work. She's been hounded out of her job. My biological mother, Doreen Williams, my black mother, has been raped. She said when she lived in Bradford in recent years, because she lived there for 30 years, in recent years, ever since I sent that letter, wrote that letter to Michael Howard, my mother started complaining that she started locking up all the doors and windows, boarding herself in and getting an alarm, everything. She said the police are conspiring against her. She said they're sending people in the house to rape her in the night, unconscious. Isn't that funny? July 99, I was raped unconscious. Or I believe I was raped, because what else would they do with me naked? Yeah? My own biological mother said she was being raped unconscious. She was waking up feeling like she's being raped. My mother started tying up her fanny, tying up everything before she lie down. She was frightened to sleep, drop asleep in case somebody come in and rape her. Why rape? What the fuck? So my home biological mother, they've been raping. My own black sister, they've been raping. How many other, so many black people, people in the wider community have been raped, pillaged, everything, rape off. Man, I'm not going to mention no names, but last year, certain man who believe in Rastafari confessed to me they've been raped as a youth growing up. They were held down by certain black people after my dad was in the newspaper. After that happened, where they said my dad was arrested and charged with what they were trying to say, he was raping a white boy. I don't know. Having sex with a white boy. I don't know what it is. After that, this Rasta guy was raped in a youth center, a black youth center. They hold him down in there. They trick him, hold him down in there and rape him off. Whole heap of people have been affected. Whole heap. So all these like the white girl in King's Cross, my sister, my MICHEAL sister Lizetta, you're in a fantasy world. You say I've been raped. You don't know what rape is. You don't even know what fucking rape. Do you know how many people have been raped? Proper rape, held down violently, fighting for their life. So anyway, I'm not being vicious and vindictive. I don't kill people. I believe in going through the proper legal channels. I don't go by convenient agenda. I don't follow convenient agenda. Whole heap of story. I mean, there's been so much. I can't mention everything now. But one other thing I'll mention before I go, because I'm going to do another video tomorrow. In 1987 or 88, I think it was 88, I was in Newhall Prison, HMP Newhall Prison in Wakefield. And do you know, in 1987, those people accused me of being a paedophile behind my back. The reason how I know, I was put on Rule 43. Ask anybody back in who knows the system from back in the 80s, man or woman, ask them what Rule 43 is. I'll say no more. They only put paedophiles and child abusers on Rule 43. Already from 1988, I was on paedophile wing, child abuser wing, Rule 43. I was taken off a normal location, put there against my will, and they left me in there with all the paedophiles and the child abusers. And the segregation unit was separate. That was not full. So it wasn't to say that was full and they had to put me in there for bad behavior. Nothing like that. They put me on a paedophile child abuser wing at 17 years old. I was 17. This was in 1988. Senator Moore.